a remake 100 years later, Nosferatu really will leave you in many ways speechless, but it also will provide you with so many different emotions where you leave the theater thinking, what did I just watch? But before we get into the video and the review, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Make sure to go check out the other reviews I have posted. I hope you guys all had a Merry Christmas. If you celebrate Christmas, spent time with family, I hope you all enjoyed that time there. But Nosferatu officially opened today in theaters. This film is a remake of sorts of the 1922 film. And this also is telling a story a little bit of the 1897 book Dracula. Now, from many accounts, knowing what I know about movies, this film really was just not able to assure, or really didn't have the approval to be made about Dracula. However, it was. Now, I could be wrong on that, but from everything I've read going into this film, that is what seems to be the consensus. But before we get into the review, let's talk about what the feeling was opening night. This is the most packed I have ever seen a theater at my local Regal. I have gone to over 214 movies this year, and I have never seen it this packed. Rows were full, people from top to bottom, and they were there for the full 2 hours and 16 minutes that this movie was. Now, it may have been a little bit shorter, but it was a 2-hour runtime. Now, let's get right into it. Nosferatu is portrayed in some senses as a scary movie. It is portrayed as a tale in Germany with the plague and really trying to, I guess, find success. And you have all that. Now, there are multiple times during this movie where I will openly admit I was jump scared a few times. In that time, it was one of those things where it was least expecting the situation, and out of nowhere, you're kind of on the edge of your seat. Now, the one thing that I feel like with this movie is in the 2 hours and 16 minutes or 2 hours that you're watching it, you are getting a lot of different story perspectives, but you're also getting the story told in a complete fashion. So you're seeing it from Ellen, you're seeing it from Thomas, you're seeing it from the doctor's perspective, even Ellen's friend, Anna, and her family's perspective. So you're getting to see the impact that Nosferatu has on many different people and the ways that the impact is there. Now, the one thing that really stood out about this film was when you're looking at a typical European style film, you have the dress, the time period, but you're also going to have the concerns. And we find out middle of the way through the movie about the plague. Now, at this point, Ellen is really the only one that knows about Nosferatu. And I think they did a really good job at the beginning of introducing their relationship. They didn't oversimplify it, but they didn't also give it all away right at the beginning. Now, as the film goes on, I will point out there are a few parts in it, and this is actually part of why my review rating is what it is. There are a few scenes where you just kind of feel like they don't belong, or the acting in it is overdone. So, for example, there are certain scenes with Ellen where it almost feels like she's going overboard. And I understand that's what the director wants, because they want you to see the impact that Nosferatu has. But I feel like it was overdone in some senses. There's one specific part where Thomas really leaves the situation, and I won't go into spoilers, but then he ends up in a random church-like area after being found, and then he just disappears. So it's almost as if that scene did not necessarily need to be there. But I also think what really made this film enjoyable, like I said, is the little bit of jump scares you get. it's portrayed in a sense as a horror film. In some ways it is, but this is not a movie where if you go to see it, you're just going to be scared the entire time. And so I think that's what made this movie enjoyable, because things could be going along and then all of a sudden there is something that happens that will change your mind. Now, looking at it a little bit further, I am a little bit disappointed with the way it ended. Now, I understand that is the perspective, that is kind of the take of Dracula as well as the original. But I also felt, like I said, some of the things were overdone. And in that sense, it felt overdone. And you could tell by the reactions of people in the theater that instead of feeling sympathy or feeling like kind of sad, there were laughs. There were more people laughing at the way that this movie ended than what many people probably expected. But then let's get into rating. When you break down the whole film, from how many people were there to the length to was it an overall good film, it was. Nosferatu really exceeded my expectations. However, there's certain scenes that if you go and watch this, you will see. I will not go further into specifics. It kind of takes away from what you are watching. And so when I'm looking at a rating, Nosferatu falls at a 4 out of 5. Still not a terrible score. 4 out of 5 is a movie I would watch again. I would go to theaters and see it again. But it just had parts in it that you don't feel belong. And that's what this film had. However, it does not take away from the excellent storytelling. It doesn't take away from the emotions that you feel in some scenes. And ultimately, I feel like this is a very, very solid film. Now, the funny thing about it is the people behind us, or behind me, when I was leaving, as the movie ended, you heard one of the kids say, or teenagers say, well, that's definitely not a Christmas movie. And it's not. It is not a Christmas movie. But Nosferatu is out now. It is a movie I highly recommend. It is something that I feel like anybody that's a movie fan would enjoy. If you're a fan of that little bit of a jump scare European style movie, this is a movie that fits that category. But like I said, I hope you all have had a great Christmas. I hope you all have had an opportunity to rest. Make sure to go check out the other reviews I have posted. I have 2 more reviews coming this weekend. Make sure to hit the subscribe button, and I will talk to you all later.